everyone.
Hi.
How's everyone doing?
Good.
I have Alicia here with me. Can everyone hear us okay? We're trying to navigate our two different screens, so bear with us. Okay. Hi, Justin. Hi, Tim. Hi, everyone. I think we'll probably have a few more people trickle in, but we'll go ahead and get started. We are recording this for other volunteers who weren't able to make it today, just so you're aware that this will be recorded. I think I know all of you, but just in case, my name is Heather Craig. I'm the Sustainability Coordinator for WashU School of Medicine.
And I'm Alicia Hubert. I lead the sustainability efforts and work closely with Heather.
So we're going to go through a quick waste sorting demonstration and talk a little bit about the compost pilot and what you can expect. I believe that all of you, for the most part, have signed up to volunteer. So what you can expect as a volunteer. Go to the next slide. Okay.
There we go.
Awesome. Everybody is probably aware, but we are going to be starting a compost pilot program at the School of Medicine campus in Farmstead and Shell cafes for a 3-month period, February 1st through April 30th, with the goal of implementing compost at those locations and then potentially expanding to other locations across campus. Alicia will get into why composting is important for our waste goals, but we really need a lot of help to make this pilot program successful. Contamination is something we're really trying to avoid because our compost provider, if we have contamination, they will put it to the landfill, which is like counterintuitive to what we're trying to accomplish. So that's what we're trying to do here today, is help everyone learn how to sort appropriately and then hopefully pass on that knowledge to diners at Farmstead and Shell.
Can I add something really quick?
Of course.
So if you're new to WUSM or something, we don't currently have composting front of house for individuals to walk up and throw away like their extra scraps from lunch. We have been composting food scraps back of house, which means like the kitchens on campus that are preparing food. Anything that's left over, maybe it sat out too long, or they peeled a bunch of carrots and they have all the scraps from that. They've been composting that for several years, at least like 4 or 5 years. But offering composting to the general population is what's new. And we're doing a pilot program because, like Heather said, contamination is a big deal with composting. We don't want to waste the vendor's time coming and picking up this really heavy waste if we're just going to contaminate it. So we want to basically practice and see if it's possible to do this on our campus. And we're providing opportunities to give like really targeted education to the community so that this can be successful and we could implement it more long-term.
Yes, thank you. And we will have time for questions at the end. So if you have a question, feel free to hold on to it, or you can put it in the chat and we'll get to it at the end.
Do you want to do that volunteer stuff?
I think that's on the next slide.
Okay.
Oh, just kidding.
That's okay. Well, that's something what you can expect. So this slide is showing you that we create a ton of waste here. Well, many tons of waste here on the med school campus. So this is showing that for 1 year, as an example, we created about 16 million pounds of waste, and 42% of that was diverted from the landfill. 58% of that waste had to go to the landfill for one reason or another. Of the waste that was diverted, our opportunities to divert waste from the landfill include all of the things that you see there. So recycling is obviously our #1 way that we divert waste from the landfill. Then comes composting. Then we also have e-waste, electronics, so like an old keyboard that broke and all that sort of stuff. all of the landscape trimmings that result from the operations on our campus, that stuff gets actually composted, but we do track it separately. Waste cooking oil can be recycled and reused in a variety of ways. And then that other 1% is the like specialty waste that goes through mostly through EH&S. So obviously, this is just to show you all of the ways that we try to keep waste out of the landfill. But today we're here specifically to talk about composting. We do also offer programming that gives you an in-depth training on recycling as well, but we're not really going to touch on that kind of stuff today. So this is an outdated graph, but I just wanted to show you that we do have waste-related goals here on the Med campus and the university. We have a jillion sustainability-related goals that we're working with all of our partners to try to meet. The waste-related one is that we get to 45% of our waste diverted from the landfill. We were getting really close pre-pandemic. We were at 42%. And then obviously the pandemic just completely changed everything. We were creating a lot less waste on campus because nobody was here, but what we were creating was more landfill skewed because of all the masks and gloves and things that were getting thrown away. So like I said, this is an outdated graph. We're working on getting an updated post-pandemic snapshot of where we're at, but we're still working towards that 45% diversion. We're also working with the Office of Sustainability to develop institution-wide goals relating to waste and all of the other topical areas that we work on.
And we, to add on to that, we expect composting to divert 15,000 pounds annually. So that will help our waste diversion goals quite a bit. So where will our compost go? We've partnered with New Earth Farm. They are a known and grown certified farmer, which is basically like they've been vetted for sustainable criteria. This is John and Stacy and their son T. If you all attended the Earth Day Festival last year, you may have met them. They're really wonderful. And they compost at their properties in Old North and through local industrial composting facilities. They will be on site helping with the pilot program and are really wonderful resources. I use them personally for my own home for like curbside composting, and the customer service has been really great. And we're really excited to partner with a smaller vendor for this program.
Yeah, it'll actually be John that like comes and picks it up each week, which is just really cool that we're going to have this really close relationship with them so we can troubleshoot anything that might be happening, or if a new material pops up, we can always say like, hey, what about this weird thing that we found? We have open communication with them, which is really great.
So for volunteers, we wanted to give you an idea of what you can expect. I will send you calendar holds for the shifts that you have signed up for. I will send if you haven't signed up as a volunteer yet, we'll put the sign up sheet in the chat towards the end. Alicia or I will be there to greet you on your first shift, and we will be available throughout the pilot. I will give you my phone number. If you have any questions, you can just give me a call. If you're like, oh, I haven't seen this thing before, I don't really know, we will be available. So we want to avoid you feeling like you're just out there on your own. We will provide waste kits. We have branded aprons. If you already have a sustainability t-shirt, that's great. You can also wear that. If you want a sustainability t-shirt, let us know and we can get you one. But if you don't feel like you need that, the branded apron is also a great alternative. We'll have gloves, a script that you can go over at the beginning of your shift that will say, you know, what if this situation happens? What if this situation happens? And you can kind of just use that, you know, if you are concerned about what to say to someone. And then we'll have a sorting cheat sheet as well. Hopefully this will be pretty intuitive at the end of this training, but don't worry, we'll have all that information during your shifts. And those kits will be located under the condiment counters at each location. But again, one of us will be there to greet you. And we'll show you where those things are. The purpose is to coach and educate diners. We are not expecting, while we're giving you gloves, just in case, we're not expecting you to take waste from people and sort it for them. It's more like, oh, that's compostable actually. Or like, we're doing this compost pilot. Can I show you what goes where? Just to avoid, touching other people's trash. Chairs will be provided if you would like to sit during the shift. You're also welcome to stand. And then all volunteers are getting a free lunch. We'll ask that you eat after your shift, and all you have to do is let the cashier know at Farmstead or Shell, hey, I was the volunteer for this shift, and they will know what to do to get you reimbursed for that, or not reimbursed, but they can process that for you.
Yep. Yeah, so this is going to be a little bit different than, I know I recognize many of you as being volunteers in the past for, the employee picnic and other situations where we've sorted waste for people, where it's very much like they drop it off and run away. And like a few people are maybe interested in what goes where, but this is going to be a lot more like, hi, can I please help you sort your waste appropriately? If you would, open up your clamshell, I can tell you what goes where, because we want this to be something that they know how to do and can continue to do when we aren't there.
And again, we'll have a script. So if people are like, I have to go, we'll have like sample responses that you can use, so that you'll feel comfortable like responding to that. Yep. Great. So we will get into how to sort.
Okay, so obviously the new waste stream that people may not have had the opportunity to may not have been confronted with yet is composting. So that's what we're here to talk about. Composting is taking organic material, breaking it down, and it eventually turns into really nutrient rich, like soil additive, basically. So it's not going into a landfill where it will never break down. Of course, food and things like this can't really be recycled. So this is the natural alternative for organic waste. So the things that can go into the compost are, of course, food. Pretty much any kind of food that you're presented with in this setting is going to be compostable. So don't worry about like this donut has sprinkles on it. Like obviously sprinkles don't have any nutritional value to people. They're not really going to add anything to the compost, but we don't need to take the sprinkles off. They are going to break down. There are a few tiny little things that may not really be ideal for composting, but in general, all of the food that you're confronted with is going to be able to go into the compost container. Additionally, the clamshell, so these little things, this is what you are given your food in at both Farmstead and Shell, the small ones and the big ones. These are compostable, even if they are like completely covered in ketchup or salad dressing or whatever it is. This whole item is compostable. I know in the Recycling Genius training, we talk about this being recyclable if it's clean, and that is true. So like this totally clean thing is recyclable, but it is also compostable. So when composting is available, that's where this goes. So when somebody walks up to you and they have their closed clamshell and they're like, okay, I need to throw this away, you'll want them to open it so that they can take out any of the things that aren't compostable, which we'll talk about in a second. But the point is that this goes in the compost. I am not aware of any styrofoam, at least at Farmstead and Shell. There might be, I know there's like Chick-fil-A and some other places on campus that sell food, but we're not talking about that. If someone comes to you with a styrofoam cup, that's definitely going to go in the landfill. Some other, do you want to interject?
I will just say quickly, we are going to have some updated signage. So this sign is kind of a holdover from the Danforth campus. For our compost pilot, we will not be accepting liquids in our compost, or you can see this like in the middle, there's that plastic looking cup. Thank you. That's what it's called. Those we're not accepting, but this is just so you have an idea of what the signage will look like. But those things will be removed from the WashU or the School of Medicine signage. So I just wanted to call that out really quickly.
Yeah, we're making specific signs for Farmstead and Shell based on what they have available. So Farmstead and Shell do not currently have compostable plastic cups.
Let me show this.
Yeah, oh yeah, so the compost can is gonna have this like light green trash can liner in it. If it doesn't, and you show up for your shift and they just have a regular trash bag in there, you can ask the dining staff to replace it with a compostable bag. If you're not comfortable with that, you can always let one of us know. But this bag is compostable, so the compost vendor will accept the waste in these bags. If it's in a different bag, they won't accept it. So we want to make sure that the liners are in the correct cans. Compost is green, that's kind of easy. Recycling is always going to have a blue liner, and then the landfill can has the plastic liner. We'll talk about cartons in just a second. Some other things at Farmstead and Shell that are going to be compostable are napkins. The brown napkins are definitely compostable, as are the brown wood like coffee stirrer sticks. What else do we got? I think, yes. So if you purchase like a coffee, the cup and lid are not compostable, but the little brown warmy sleeve hand protector thing, that is compostable. So as it says, brown uncoated paper product. So that would be all of these things. Yeah. I think that's about it. We also have a banana peel here to show you that this banana peel is compostable, obviously. Ideally, the sticker, you would take the sticker off. If somebody walks past and chucks their banana peel into the compost and you aren't able to, catch it, no, I'm just kidding. You aren't able to like talk to them. You do not have to go diving after this sticker. Produce stickers are unfortunately not compostable, but it's the compost vendor is willing to accept that. If you've ever bought compost for your like garden at home, sometimes you find a produce sticker in there, and it's unfortunate. I don't know why they haven't invented compostable produce stickers up to this point, but they haven't. So ideally it would come off, but don't stress too much about it.
I think we have one more slide on composting.
Yeah, so this is the actual image from New Earth Farm. That gives you a ton more details. We'll send these slides out if you want to study, but I think we've overviewed mostly what you can be confronted with. So coffee grounds. I know we said no liquids in any of our waste streams. Like ideally, if someone has a full cup of beverage, they would go dump it out into a sink or a water fountain or something before disposing of the cup. If somebody has a little bit of, well, none of our cups are compostable, but if someone has like soup, that can totally go in the compost. Like don't stress too much about that. But if someone has a full beverage or container of ice or something really unexpected and strange, please don't put it in one of the cans, because that makes it really heavy and difficult to clean up. And we want to make this as easy on the custodial staff as possible. So the main takeaways for composting is like absolutely no plastic utensils. That's going to be the most common contaminant, because someone's going to have their clamshell that they're going to throw away and it's going to have their fork in it. So you want to make sure that they open it and throw their utensils in the landfill. Same for like the coffee creamer cups, condiment packages. Those are the little things that are sometimes hiding inside of these clamshells. So you want to make sure to get all of those out. Those are all going to go in the landfill. And yeah, so.
And I think Lacey just asked a question about the little paper cups that sometimes if you have bulk ketchup, for that, I believe that those have a plastic lining on them. So even if they have the little paper cups that you get at McDonald's or whatever, that you put your ketchup in, I would put that in the landfill for now.
We can confirm with John just to make sure that the specific ones that are at our food vendors, just to make sure, because there's like different versions of everything. And there's a tiny chance that they might be made of wallpaper, but if in doubt, always put stuff in the landfill.
Yep. Okay, so switching to recycling, I'm going to go through these kind of quickly just because we only have about 10 minutes left. Most of us are familiar with recycling, so I won't go too in depth, but no food, liquids to go boxes or paper cups in the recycling. If you check all plastics except for number 6 or bags are accepted in recycling. So if you look at this coffee cup, this lid has a number 6 on it. It has the recycling symbol with a 6 inside. 6 is not recyclable. So this whole entire cup package is landfill. Whereas this cup, if you look at the bottom, it has the recycling symbol with a 1, and that is recyclable. So 1 through 5 and 7, I know it's a lot to keep track of, but again, we will have cheat sheets. 1 through 5 and 7 are recyclable for plastics. Number 6 is not recyclable.
And even though the coffee cup is a paper cup and you would think that it's paper, it's recyclable, it's actually not. They're lined with plastic on the inside, which is why the cup doesn't disintegrate in your hand.
Yeah.
So it needs to be thrown in the landfill can.
And then Mary asked a question about like paper coated cartons. Like you can see here that the silk chocolate milk or like Pop-Tarts boxes, things like that. Those are recyclable as well, as long as they're not like full of liquid.
Right. Yeah, you would always want to dump that out or drink the rest, obviously,
Yeah.
before it goes in the recycling.
And again, we can get, if people have time and want to stay after, we can answer more recycling questions at the end.
And this recycling sign is not going to change. So this is always the sign that you can expect to see around our campus. The only signs that are going to change in these locations are landfill and compost.
Also, we want to talk about the concept of wish cycling. Just because we want something to be recyclable or compostable does not mean that it is. So when in doubt, like throw it out. I know it's cheesy, but if you are doubting something, put it in the landfill. I know that seems counterintuitive, but during this pilot period, we really want to focus on not contaminating our compost stream. And again, you can call me or Alicia if you have a question that we haven't covered. But generally speaking, I know that the best thing is throwing it in compost, but you really don't know.
I was hoping to give you a little.
All right, and so this is the landfill signage. So that'll be chip bags and snack wrappers, plastic number 6. So this, and paper cups and styrofoam. So this thing, all of our plastic utensils currently. I know that sometimes there's like Caldi's has compostable utensils, but at Farmstead and Shell currently we have plastic utensils, so they need to go in the landfill. Again, these coffee creamer cups, those are landfill. Receipt paper are landfill. And then sugar packets, I know that we're like, oh, they're paper, but I actually just checked with John this morning and he said that they're lined with the plastic as well. So these sugar packets, while the sugar may be compostable, the actual packet is landfill.
That's sneaky plastic. It's in everything.
Plastic, yeah.
So at Farmstead, they have like the circular holes on top of the trash cans. So we're actually making round signs. Here's like our little mock-up that will go around the hole to say like, this hole is a landfill hole. So we're trying to make it as easy as possible because obviously while the volunteers are all going to be there during the lunch hours, there's more time in the day. So we want individuals that are just approaching the cans to be able to sort their waste on their own as well. And hopefully by us being there for the busy part of the day, we'll be able to interact with the regulars.
Yes. So the key takeaways for sorting waste in general, you want to open the clamshells first. Most people just will chuck the whole thing. So we really want to take that step and ask them to open it. If it grows, it goes in the compost. That does include meat as well. I know a lot of people have questions about meat, but that counts for composting as well. And then if in doubt, throw it out in the landfill. So we're going to do, I think, a quiz.
Yep. Do we want to, let's look at the questions real quick if there's any that we didn't get to. All right, let's see. Will people be able to bring compost from home to dispose of?
So we have gotten this question a few times, and I think that for the pilot period, we would like to focus exclusively on what is from the dining location so we can have an idea of what that waste stream will look like. After the 3-month pilot period, if people are super adamant about bringing their composting to campus, I think that's something that we would be open to after the pilot period. So we can revisit that conversation in May. But for the pilot period, we'll just keep it to the dining locations.
Honestly, we wouldn't be able to stop anyone.
Right.
It is just a trash can, essentially, but I think if someone buys their lunch at Farmstead or Shell and takes it back to their office to eat, they're welcome to come back to that location to bring their compostable waste back.
Yes, that is something that we anticipate the volunteers seeing a lot, people leaving with their waste. And so in that case, we encourage the volunteers to say, you know, enjoy your lunch. Feel free to bring that stuff back and I can help you figure out what goes where.
Yeah, and we'll have signage like all over the place in a variety of ways. So while people are waiting in line, they'll see the signs about composting too. So hopefully they'll realize that they can come back and easily compost their waste.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think that Christina had a question about whether it's better for the coffee sleeve to go in the recycling or the compost.
Either one. At this point, I would vote compost because we are very confident that that waste is not going to be contaminated and it's going to be composted. Recycling contamination is something that we've been trying to tackle for years. It's really, really difficult to get people to not contaminate the recycling. So if something is compostable, let's put it in the compost for now. Also because we really want to have a full snapshot of how much of our waste can actually be diverted if we hold everyone's hand to do it correctly.
Yes.
Cafes, do the cafes use the foil ketchup packets or bulk with paper cups? That's what Lacey said. We're gonna figure out what exactly they have and ask about that.
Okay, so we'll start our quiz. What about the coffee cup? Does anyone have? I know that these are going to seem silly, but it's good to like embed it in your brain. It doesn't matter who comes off. You can type it in the chat too.
You have to look and make sure it's not a number 6. And
So
if
all
not-
coffee cup lids are actually going to be number 6. That's
Okay.
correct. You don't have to look though.
But yes, this is trash. All of this is trash. What about that silk carton in the bottom middle?
Recyclable.
Yes.
Yeah.
What about sugar packets?
Landfill.
Yep. You guys are doing great. Plastic utensils?
Landfill.
Plastic cold beverage cup and lid.
It's a number 1, if that is helpful.
Recyclable.
Yes, great. And
Clamshell.
Compost.
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 coffee creamer,
Trash.
trash.
Landfill.
Landfill,
What if
yeah.
this was full of food? What if there was a half cheeseburger and a whole bunch of ketchup in here?
Compost.
Still compost.
Yes,
Yay.
nice. What about this white paper towel on the top? We didn't call that out explicitly. It's okay if you're wrong.
Yep.
What, the toilet paper you mean?
It
Yes.
looks like toilet paper, but it's kind of like a paper. We'll just say
Oh,
it's
I
a
see.
paper towel.
Compost.
Oh, compost.
In this case, it is compost. New Earth Farm does accept that as compost. Any napkins they will take as compost. So I think that pretty much covers what we have here. I want to make sure we leave some time for questions. We have a minute left, but we're happy to stay after if anyone has any questions. If not, that's also totally okay. Let me add the sign up sheet. Okay, thanks, Justin. Alicia's gonna add the sign up sheet to the chat if anyone hasn't had a chance to sign up yet. I will call out that there's a second tab for March and April. Yes, Tim, to clarify, plastics 1 through 5 are recyclable as well as plastic number 7. 6 is not recyclable. 6 is landfill. next to the 6 is what we like to say.
Heather, is that just specific to Missouri or is that national for the
For the
numbers?
plastics.
Mhm.
So this is all St. Louis based. Every city, unfortunately, is different and what they accept varies city to city. So this is St. Louis specific.
Generally, though, I would say that six is just a super low quality plastic. It's condensed styrofoam. So styrofoam or expanded polystyrene is just that coffee lid with air pumped in it. You know how you can take a coffee lid and like break it and tear it. If you wanted to tear it in half, that tells you that it's just super low quality. It can't be remade into anything. So in most cases, number 6 and styrofoam are not usable materials. So we want to avoid it if possible.
Thank you both.
Awesome. That's all we have.
We are extremely appreciative of you all being willing to take your time to talk to people about trash. I know it's unusual, it's extremely important though, and we want this compost pilot to go really well because it's a great way to divert waste and to save all the greenhouse gases that would be emitted from that waste breaking down in a landfill.
And we do plan to let all of our volunteers know about the numbers at the end of the pilot to give you an idea of how much we did divert. And if you have any feedback throughout the program at all, please let me know. We want it to be as successful as possible. So if you notice something that we haven't foreseen, we want to hear about it. Definitely. All right. We will stay on just in case anyone has another question, but if you guys are all good, feel free to hop off.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cool.